November 4th. Call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. At this time, if you would please silence your cell phones, and also, again, please make sure that the exit stays clear. This time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Yeager from Altamont School, who will introduce the student leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, members of the board and all of our esteemed colleagues here this evening. It is my tremendous honor to introduce to you two very wonderful students that we have at Altamont Elementary School. They're part of our growing and developing ASB. So it is going to be my pleasure to bring up these students. They're going to lead us in the flag salute, and then they're also going to give a presentation that they created, giving some highlights of what we've done at Altamont so far this year. So without any further ado, it is my pleasure to call up Ramon Trujillo and Dhruva Kolakanini.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it was on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, the board. We are Altamont ASB student government, and we are here to present our PowerPoint on what we've done so far this year. So these are some of our kids from our school, and this year's kind of theme is more love, less hate in Altamont 2.0. So that's what we've been going off of for this year. One of the things we did that we're really excited for was the Halloween dance, which was 6th through 8th, and it was district-wide. We had an amazing turnout, and me and a high schooler, who was actually my friend, helped DJ the dance, and we had over 100 kids show up to our dance. We had lights, decorations, and fog, and giveaways. Based on a survey of the ASB student body that we recorded to see how many people liked the dance who attended, 95% said they had fun.
Another thing we did for Halloween was sell boograms, which were an amazing hit. We helped spread Halloween cheer with this fundraiser to all the grades.
ASB took 2 field trips in the past trimester. One was officers only, and one was for the entire ASB class. Woodland, Yolo County Fairgrounds, this was the officers only one. We had lots of fun with the Castle State leadership, and we were following them closely. So that's how our officers are learning how to be good leaders. Also, we had Mountain House High Leadership Development Day, which was for the entire ASB class, and they seem to have really liked it and wish they could do it again each trimester.
We raised a total of $20,000 for the classrooms in our annual fun run. It helped by making posters and advertising it to all around the school. We ran with music on, thanks to Dhruva Kolakanini, which was a big help, in my opinion. And I think the kids had lots of fun.
We also have Red Ribbon Week. We use Red Ribbon Week like we do every year to raise awareness about being drug-free and violence-free. ASB hosted lunchtime activities for prizes and chose the theme superheroes. We had Neon Day, Cape Day, and Jersey Day. And last of all, for Friday, which was Halloween, we had our Halloween Say Boo to Drugs Day.
We increased spirit wear on Fridays by over 50% by advertising it. We also made lunchtimes more fun by having music playing on Fridays. We allowed the students to choose their own songs as long as it was appropriate.
A little quick story that we used to inspire spirit wear in people was we motivated kids to wear more by handing out candy to the people who did. When we started out, we got 80 or so pieces of candy, and after every lunch thing, we still had candy left over. Next week, we brought 160 pieces, and we ran out in the first lunch.
In the assemblies, we increased our number of prizes for classes. ASB got more involved in the assemblies by making skits and more PowerPoints for the kids. We worked the technology in the assemblies, such as projectors and also video skits.
And then music for when they're coming in and exiting.
We ran games and dances in middle of the assemblies so the kids can get their wiggles out and be ready to focus again when needed.
Lastly, we also did a parade for the homecoming. Our theme for the homecoming parade was toys, as in the Toy Story. So here are 3 of our ASB members, former ASB members, that helped out with the parade. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Thanks for the information, and let us know what's going on over Altamont. That helps us a lot. Thank you.
Could we have music at meetings? I mean, it seems to make
Transitional-
things more fun.
transitional music?
Yeah.
How about dancing?
Yes, yes.
Are they going to pick the music?
As long as it's appropriate.
Nice job, guys. Yeah.
All right, for the folks just joining us, we need to keep the doorway clear. There's seats up front, or if you guys can shuffle in, but the doorway and the aisle leading to the door needs to remain clear.
So they look around and they don't know.
Roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
Shane Nielsen.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Samantha D. Tiberis.
Here.
Approval and/or corrections of the agenda.
There are none.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Receiving a public comment, if anyone in the public would like to speak to anything that's not currently on the agenda. Hearing none. Consent items for consideration. There are several. Approval of the governing board meeting minutes for October 14th, the special meeting and the regular meeting of October 21st. Item B is approval of the 2015-16 hires.
Thank you. I would suggest we pause for a moment.
A moment. Item C, acceptance of resignation. Item D, approval of updated 2015-16 fundraisers. Item E, approval of contract with Ron Bennett, School Services of California for fact-finding services.
I move we approve the consent items as presented.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Trustee
I'd like to
Lempel.
welcome the following employees to Lammersville. Michelle Hines, art teacher. Ray Urbach, math teacher. Angelica Alcantar, noon duty supervisor. Agnes Arokiaraj, special education instructional aide. Nereo Balatayo, custodian and security. Margie Patel, special education instructional aide. And I'd like to welcome all of them.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
District Administrative Reports. Item A, Superintendent's Report.
It is my distinct pleasure this evening to congratulate our governing board, our community, our schools, our educators, and our entire area needs to know that our district has been named a recipient of a very prestigious award, California School Boards Association Golden Bell Award in the category of strategic planning. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Golden Bell, let me give you a little bit of background. The California School Boards Association Golden Bell Award, now in its 36th year, promotes excellence in education and school board governance by recognizing outstanding programs and school board governance practices in school districts and county offices of education throughout California. The Golden Bell Award reflects the depth and breadth of educational programs and governance decisions supporting these programs that are necessary to address students' changing needs. This award program highlights best practices in education in all areas of operations, instructions, and support services by seeking out, recognizing key governance practices that support, sustain, and inspire the creation and continuance of exemplary education programs, seeking out and recognizing sustainable, innovative, or exemplary programs which have been developed and successfully implemented by California teachers, administrators, and school systems, recognizing and supporting educators who invest extra energy and time to make a demonstrated difference for students, promoting models with positive student outcomes, and focusing on the commitment to ensure that the needs of all students are met. Finally, the CSBA Golden Bell Award its intent is to identify exemplary programs that serve as a way to share information about effective educational strategies. The Golden Bell Awards program also serves to boost confidence in public education by focusing attention on success in our schools. Finally, it enables the California School Boards Association, on behalf of school governing boards throughout the state, to express appreciation to dedicated educators and civil servants who strive to provide high-quality education that challenges all students to succeed. This is a prestigious award, and congratulations to our Board of Trustees.
We had a lot of staff input and community input on that strategic plan, so I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in that.
Absolutely. I just wanted to echo that. I had the opportunity to serve for part of the time on the committee that was helping create that, along with Mrs. Lampel and other board members. And it wasn't just the board, it was community members and staff members. It's unfortunate the staff didn't get to hear this appreciation and award. It was teachers, it was staff members, it was principals, it was administrators, and it was members of the public, parents who live in this community, all working together to create a vision for the future of this district. And somebody's recognized what we all work together to create as our future as something as a model, and we should all be appreciative and all take some amount of pride in this award. And I thank everybody who participated.
And I can tell you that the selection process is very rigorous. I know that CSBA has a whole group of staff. That's all they do is they take all the applications, they review the applications, and then they actually send delegates for this region out and vet the process. So I know we had one of my delegates from my region come out and actually go through the vetting process and take that information back to CSBA. So it is it's a very honor for us to accept this award. So thank you for everyone involved in making this happen.
And I would just like to echo what Trustee Nielsen said. There was a lot of work. There was dozens of people that had input on this strategic plan and uncounted hours of work that went into it. And I'd just like to thank everyone involved.
And these groups met on the weekends, at night. None of this was done during work hours.
Okay. Anything else for your report?
That's it.
Okay. Item B, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Ms. Kaiser.
I wanted to mention that David Sargent from Mountain House Developers reached out very late on Friday to Mr. Nolan to schedule the improvements that will be necessary. He mentions here the company he works for will be installing landscaping around the high school, hopefully soon, in parentheses, and we need to coordinate a few things. And so Jim Nolan will be setting an appointment to get that rolling. The other thing I wanted to point out, as you're aware, the district is growing. We will need to purchase furniture for the seniors that will be attending the high school next year. Dr. Nicholas and I need to review Exhibit B for some of the items that we need to purchase with mitigation funds. The Chromebook issue, I have very strongly urged the sites and staff to continue using the Chromebooks. I have heard of only 3 cases this week, meaning 3 individual Chromebooks that relate to the connectivity. So they're prepared to reduce the severity, but they still continue to be working with us every day.
Great. Glad to hear the response.
As it relates to the landscaping, do we know what they're going to install? Because the last we heard, the
No,
original
but I
plan-
will make sure to find out from Mr.
just
Nolan.
curious.
I may end up participating in this meeting as well.
So what I know is that there's a conversation and a new federal law, I believe, it might be a state law, I could be wrong about that, about turf and watering in California, so probably a state law. So the plan for Central has to be rethought out, or the way they water has to be rethought out. There seems to be nothing in the way of doing what needs to be done along Mascot, which will be more of ground cover, plants, trees, and shrubs. So I believe the work will be done in 2 phases, Mascot first, Central second. I have been working behind the scenes to support Mr. Sargent and his organization to get this work done as soon as possible.
Support. Good word.
As far as the landscaping along Mascot, when we do have input on it, can we do it with an eye towards not blocking the view of the football field as we discussed
Trees,
earlier?
no trees. No trees.
I can put that input in. I don't think there's a deep enough or wide enough flower bed area there to put in anything, but it would be, yeah, I will send that off to Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbo. Good point.
Thanks, Alvina.
I happen to love the fact that we can drive by the football field and see whatever's going on from Mascot.
So you're saying that you're not watching the road? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I have 2 eyes.
Committee reports. Item A, facilities use. The minutes from our last committee meeting are included in the packet, if anyone has any questions. And our next meeting is scheduled next
November
2 weeks.
18th.
Yeah, thank you, November 18th. Item B, District Advisory Committee.
The first meeting of the year is November 9th.
Item C, District English Language Advisory Committee.
You got the date?
The next meeting is Wednesday, November 18th.
Not last week when I was emailing everyone going, where's the meeting?
And didn't believe me when I told you it wasn't last week.
Item,
Calendar says it's today.
item D is Gate Arts and Music. Anything?
We met yesterday. It was an organizational meeting. There was a significant number of attendees from the public there, so it was a great improvement. And I was there, so it was a great improvement from the previous one. We explained what had been done, in the Gate Committee up to that point. And then we discussed the goals for the current year and the timeline for achieving those goals. And so it was an organizational meeting. That's about it.
Item E, Safety and Crisis Response. I don't think there's anything new to report. Am I missing anything? Okay. And item F, Wellness.
We haven't had a wellness committee meeting since the last board meeting, and I'm fumbling here with my calendar to find the next one. The next one is November 10th, I believe. Is that?
November 10th?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Governing Board reports.
I don't have very much to say today, but I would like to apologize for missing the last governing board meeting.
Not a problem. Life happens.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will be attending the third of 5 Masters in Governance courses this coming Saturday in Visalia. It's school finance. Really excited about that. It's been a tremendous education thus far. I did attend Cuesta Fall Carnival recently. I thought it was a well-run event. Enjoyed it. And that's about it for my reporting.
Trustee Nielsen?
Nothing to report.
Okay, I have a statement that I would like to read to the public. There's recently been a great deal of chatter on Facebook about the board questioning the movies that are shown by foundations. I want to clear the air about this issue. I was the one that contacted the Wickland Foundation president when I became aware of the ratings of the movies that were planned for a Wickland School Foundation fundraiser. My inquiry was about the parents' awareness of the movie ratings. I specifically stated that I was not trying to micromanage the foundation and offered to speak with the president. I was told that the parents could look up the ratings themselves. I contacted Dr. Nicholas and inquired if we have a movie policy, as this was a major policy concern in the district that I worked in as an elementary principal. That district had a very strict policy by school levels and what permissions and notifications were required. PG movies were not banned, and I am not trying to ban them here. The policy was to inform the parents of the rating so they could make a decision for their own family. Never once did I say a PG movie should not be shown, nor did I mention that the movies themselves were inappropriate. This was not a moral issue for me. It's a responsibility issue. The school district is responsible for everything that goes on at our schools. This is specifically why groups have to submit for facility use and fundraising approval. My purpose, and I stand by my inquiry and actions, was to assure that the parents were informed of the ratings of the movies. That was it. Now I'm accused of subjecting our community to my moral judgments. What moral judgments? I liked Nightmare Before Christmas when I saw it. This community voted for me based on my educational background and experience in public education, and that is what my questions were based upon. Please note that I never stated the movie should not be shown. Our foundations do a wonderful job supporting our schools, and I personally appreciate their work. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our foundations and PTAs for what they do for our children.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Trustee Palumbo?
I did a few things in the last couple of weeks in the district. My wife and I attended the PTSA cooking class and learned to cook chicken samosas, which were very tasty.
You didn't bring any here?
Really?
I didn't, sorry. My wife made some for dinner last night, though, and they were good, again. I also attended the Professional Development Day at the high school last week and saw a lot of teachers learning new teaching modalities and sharing ideas with one another. I found it very informative and believe it was a very productive day. I attended the Halloween parades at Altamont and Lammersville. Saw a lot of very interesting costumes on students, teachers, and administrators, even district staff. I also went to the Mustang football games in Escalon and here in Mountain House last week. And even though our kids haven't won many games, I'm extremely proud of them. They never give up and they have fun, and that's what it's all about, and at least in my opinion. I had the pleasure of attending the Selma Band Review last Saturday in Selma. That's a long drive. Our marching band won 3 trophies, a 3rd place in overall band, a 3rd place in color guard, and a 3rd place in drum major. And although they came up empty in the field competition, the dedication of the students, staff, and parents is truly impressive. They represent our high school and our district very well, in my opinion. Earlier this week, I attended the Challenge Day at Mountain House High School. It's an event that helps students understand that everybody has issues to deal with, and we need to all try to understand and think about what other people are going through. It also encourages students to be inclusive, empathetic towards one another, and I think it was a very well-run and worthwhile event. I also attended the gate meeting last night with Trustee Clements, and he gave a report on that, so I'll stop there. Thank you.
You need to do more.
Yeah.
Not involved enough, Mr. Palumbo.
I was thinking about it.
I was asked to mention that several board members will be attending a meet and greet tomorrow at Delta College. And for my report, I just want to say I joined the elementary board in 2006, and that was during a time, the start of a large transition for the district. In 2008, then board member Dr. Cunningham and I spent 2 full days working with CSBA, looking at every single policy that our school district had. And it was tiresome and long, and we went through it, and when we finished, we had a set of policies. Several years have gone by since then, and this year I've made my theme as chair of this board to review policies and work on processes. And what's transpired over this last week is just that. It's a process that we need to work on and we need to enhance. There are several policy issues that I think this district is still lacking. I think this board still has a lot of work to do. But I'm proud to be with this group, and I'm proud of the fact that there's a lot of people that work with the law and understand the consequences by not having appropriate policies and laws. There's a lot that goes on in closed session that the public doesn't understand that this board is tasked with. Without going into detail, I will say that the district has had to spend money on legal issues that I'm not proud of. And I think that we have a responsibility to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to make sure that we are fiscally responsible, and especially when it comes to lawsuits. So have patience with this board. The board's heart's in the right place, and I also would like to acknowledge all the hard work that our foundations and PTA put in. I know that raising money is difficult and appreciate all the work that goes in. But again, there are processes that we need to follow and we need to establish. And when we find better ways to do it, I think this board has always been open to reviewing policies and making changes as needed. So my door is always open. I'm always looking to add anything to our agenda that will make things better and embrace working with the community and all of our foundations on moving forward. That's my report. Action items. Item A, consider approval of updated 2015-16 intra-district transfer requests. Staff report?
None.
I move we approve the 2015-16 updated inter and intra-district transfer requests.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval of provisional internship permit. I'm sorry. Is that right? Yeah. Provisional internship permit for certificate employee Kimberly Clegg to be employed as a multiple subject credential staff contained 8th grade teacher at Cuesta School. Staff report?
None.
I'll move for approval of the provisional intern permit as presented.
Second, and I would like to add something,
Please.
during discussion. I wanted to point out to the folks who maybe didn't, the agenda that's here doesn't give the supporting documents, but on the school district website, I would encourage people to look at the supporting documents for this particular request and the requests related to staffing levels in the district. We're required to report out the efforts, the Herculean efforts being made by district staff to recruit teachers and all staff members. And I wanted to thank them, the ones that are here, the ones that aren't here, for all of that work. Yes, we'd much rather hire fully certificated, fully ready to go teachers, but if you're doing all of the things that we're doing and that a lot of other districts are doing and you just can't find them, this is not an option I would like to pursue. This is a last-ditch effort for us. That's nothing personal about this person because I've never met them. I don't know who they are. But I know all of us as parents would rather have fully certificated teachers in the classroom. We just can't find them, folks. It's just not there.
And I'd like to piggyback on that. It's unheard of in California to have to do provisional intern permits for multiple subject teachers, but that's where we are, because I'm doing the same work at my job and presenting provisional intern permits to the school board. There is just a teacher shortage, and I would like people to see the board packet and what Dr. Gill has attached to this agenda item and how much work she has put in to try to find fully credentialed teachers. And that's why I support this.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, consider approval of variable term waiver for certificate employee Mr. Aziz Khalidi. Thank you. Staff report?
This is another variation of a way to credential someone. This is someone who needs to update their credential, but we could hire them through this process.
Or discussion?
No? Yeah. You want to, Cohen?
Move to approve the variable term waiver for certificated employee Mr. Aziz Khalidi.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, consider approval of Bethany School overnight school-sponsored trip request for ASB students to attend the 2016 California Association of Students Leaders Conference. Any staff report?
Just that this Castle program is spectacular. It's great for all kids. You saw some young Altamont gentlemen who was obviously confident, and they get those kind of experiences that help them grow. But this is for Bethany's kids as an overnight.
And I'm very happy to see this, and please make sure Ms. Wingo knows that I appreciate the report. I always like a lot of information, and she's done a good job. Yes, so thank you for that.
And I'll move for approval of the Bethany School overnight school-sponsored trip. And this is not the first year that we have seen this fabulous report from Principal Wingo, and I look forward to the kids' report afterwards.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I just add, I'd like to see us encourage the site administrators at the other schools to look into this. The program is fantastic. I know from the ASB meetings that have been at the high school, some of the other kids have inquired about it. And I know it's a lot of work and a lot of stress, and for parents too, I'd be a little freaked out about my kid going to something like that too, but the benefits that I've heard that come from that program are fantastic. So I'd really like to see it expanded in the district.
And it should be said that Katrina Borncap is the lead on that, and Nicole Kangas I know worked on it before, but I understand she's got a little precious at home now. So those teachers and really carry the load on that, do a great job.
Item E, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 151605 in support of kindergarten through community college Public Education Facilities Bond Act 2016. Staff report?
I've given two public presentations, one about a facilities update. It was about 4 or 5 months ago. I did it at the facilities use and also for the board meeting and for the community. And also, so in a nutshell, we have some facilities needs. I also gave a budget update and tied it to our budget negotiations and master plan community and some things a few weeks ago. And I referenced this initiative. This initiative, if successful, will put money into the state's coffers through a bond to support construction projects in communities like ours and for modernization projects for older and more established school districts. It's a very, very important thing. This is the board's opportunity to tell the state, please support this.
And just for clarity, this is a statewide bond issue, is that correct?
Correct, for $9 billion.
That's all.
I don't, as comment, I don't like supporting bills or measures and those types of things unless I've read the actual text, because sometimes they throw stuff in there. And so I'm just telling the board that I did read the actual document, and it's exactly what it purports to be, as you would expect, a $9 billion bond measure. So I fully support it.
Thank you for that information.
I'll just add that from a personal perspective, no one likes paying more taxes, especially out here. No one wants to have to pay more taxes. We got to build the schools, and the state doesn't give us the money for it. We can't build the schools. We have a $30 million bill, give or take, for the next school we're going to have to build. It's got to come from someplace. And if we're going to have to save up for it, I'm not sure how we'd pull that off. And the same thing with finishing the high school. There's another $50-ish million that we need, 40-ish, to do all the things we want to do at the high school. We got to find it somewhere, and this is the only place to get it. The state's not going to do the bond on its own, and the bonds are really the only way these things have been built for the last 30-plus years. So as much as I hate giving more money to the state to do things with, sometimes you have to swallow a pill and realize this is something good that's happening for people, and I'm going to fully support it.
I have a motion.
I move we approve Governing Board Resolution 151605.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini.
Aye.
Sharon Lampel.
Aye.
Shane Nielsen.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Item F, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 151606 to increase the revolving cash fund. Staff report.
Just briefly, when we were a smaller district, the way the revolving cash fund was set up allowed Alvina to kind of deal with money without having to do additional paperwork. Since we've grown so rapidly, she needs to expand that cash fund to keep doing the practice she did when we were much smaller.
Just one more thing that changes with growth.
Move to approve Governing Board Resolution 151606 to increase revolving cash fund.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini.
Aye.
Sharon Lampel.
Aye.
Shane Nielsen.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Item G, consider approval of amendment number 2 of the 2015-16 Facilities Use Handbook. Alvina, would you like to give the report?
We can do it together.
Sure.
Shall I start?
You start.
Okay. So we had our facility use committee meeting, and we identified that there were obviously still some concerns trying to get the timelines from the school sites, and so we thought perhaps adding some additional language to the district and school sites, being able to provide at some advance notification as well. We're struggling with trying to schedule the Tier 2 organizations when they've submitted their paperwork in the designated time frame that we've provided, and we're still struggling between the district and school sites getting their events scheduled. So we've added a sentence, as you can see on page 71, the summary. In case of construction, maintenance, or other district departmental projects needs, if a conflict occurs with organizations, every effort will be made to provide an alternative district facility with advance notification or a refund. Because it just kind of stopped where priority use over outside requests. And so it became a problem with the Tier 2s.
So I have a little question on that. Will
Yes.
the Facilities Use Committee be making the decision if it is something that would, well, construction is I mean,
We should know
but
that
I'm
in
looking at the
advance if
wording,
there's repairs.
other district departmental projects needs. So the Facilities Use Committee will decide if that's truly
Yes.
something that couldn't be
If it's
avoided,
something that the
it came up
district,
at the last minute.
if, for me, I'm the one who ultimately decides as CBO what's to happen. If I don't feel it meets that needs, then we will seek an exception to the rule.
Thank you.
And then the second one was adding the AAU teams as a Tier 1 organization, because we didn't have that language in there.
And this, let me start with the second one first, just from my perspective. This was something, this is actually a really good thing for us. We had a couple the committee had a couple presentations from the high school, from our curriculum, or our athletic director, and a couple other folks talking about the need for using AAU for our sports to be able to practice during the off season. That's the only way they can do it. They have to be an AAU organization. So we had to amend our policies to allow them to be a Tier 1 organization so they can get those facilities. And as a reminder, these facilities are just impacted as far as rentals. I know I sound like a broken record, but the committee still struggles with trying to come up with fair and equitable policies to accommodate all of the use, and it's just becoming more and more difficult. As far as the first one, the item above it, the principals need to help us out here and be forward-thinking and look at your events ahead of time, because when you're trying to make changes on the fly, the trickle-down effect kills us. It kills the committee, and we have a line out the door of people that are impacted that want to yell at us. So we need to do a better job at working together and planning all the events throughout the year, and I'm hoping that we have future conversations about trying to get a schedule in before
Yes.
the start of next year, so we can hit the ground running with these organizations.
Right, and
It's, if we're going to continue to rent out our facilities, we have to work together and make this work, because it's a mess.
I'd like to thank the committee. To steal a word that Trustee Nielsen used, you guys have taken on a Herculean project. I've sat at a couple of those meetings, and I just want to thank you for all your work. It's huge. No one appreciates what you do. I do.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the two of you, and you're on the committee also, right? And the other members of the committee. It's huge. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, Corey's here. Thank you for very much for all
sits
your
on
help. And Erica Smith Payne's not here, but she's also on the committee. And it's we're meeting every month, going through all this stuff, trying to work with people, and I think we're making progress. Our last meeting was only an hour.
First time in forever.
We're making progress.
And Alvina and Lori too. I mean, the amount of work that the two of those put
Especially
in.
Lori.
The
I know there's a
biggest
lot of-
part of this effort
Yeah.
was the two of them putting together this handbook, and so I appreciate it. And I just wanted to clarify for the AAU organizations, for any folks who might be concerned or worried, the objective is our league won't allow basketball teams not to practice during off-season. All of the other teams have created school-based AAU teams that is made up predominantly, if not almost completely, of their high school basketball team. And that's the rule here. This is not any old AAU organization gets to come in and start bumping or creating. This is a high school team-based AAU organization that we've given an exception to, and that was why. We're not looking to jump ahead. We're looking to even the playing field with what the rest of the league does. I find the league rule interesting considering they've all gotten around it, but we're not that body, so there you go.
Mr. Faber, is there anything else you want to add on that, or no? Okay. So, both these items went through the committee, and they're here for the board recommendation to update the handbook.
Move to approve amendment number 2 of the 2015-16 Facilities Use Handbook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Information discussion items. Item A, Proposition 39 Energy Program.
I'll turn this over to our CBO.
As you recall, a couple of months ago, we brought forward a proposal. We are now revisiting that proposal. The district receives restricted funds to be used for energy conservation. So this is a Prop 39 presentation by Chris Bristow. Is it Bristow? All right.
Are we manual or are we automatic?
You will be.
Oh, this is my clicker. Does everybody have a copy? If they want, okay, great.
Digital.
Awesome, thank you very much. I'm Chris Bristow, energy engineer with a company called IES. I've been involved in energy projects within schools, I probably told you last time, for about 20 years. It became quickly obvious that you did not have enough information in front of you last time with a couple of spreadsheets to make a decision.
Sorry.
So this is a little bit more in depth. I'll try to run through our company stuff rather quickly and get into the reasons why the options were before you, okay? So moving on to slide 2, this is just a little background just so that you're familiar with us. We do everything energy for schools, including the solar generation and the demand side. So when we take a look at things, it is from a kind of a global perspective. And the general thought has been with this district is to use the limited amount of funding that you're getting from Prop 39, about $500,000, to try to right-size the older campuses for future solar generation. That's kind of been the goal, plus address a lot of the deferred maintenance items at Lammersville. So over 125 school districts under contract in construction, and now we have over 80 districts approved by the California Energy Commission, so we're very well versed in what they're looking for. Our approach, once again, on slide 4 is the conservation to generation to ongoing management approach. Conservation is key because conservation is usually less expensive per the savings ratio than solar generation. So you want to right-size your campus load first, then you can incorporate the renewable generation, and really, really important, after you put in solar generation, all of a sudden everybody thinks their energy is free. And so they will flick the lights on more and those types of things, right? So there's a big push towards the ongoing management to make sure that the usage stays low so that the district does see all the benefit of the generation. So this is kind of the concept that we've developed over the years through trial and error early on, and I think we've got a pretty well-honed process now. So moving on to your specifics, slide 5. The district can access almost $500,000 in Prop 39 funding over a 5-year period. of which in January 2016, you'll have 3 of 5 years available to access and to spend, okay? But you have to achieve a net present value factor of 1.5 that they call the savings to investment ratio. This is key. If you can't demonstrate this, you do not get that funding, okay? It's based on these different assumptions. The energy savings, which we calculate on your behalf, then they automatically dump 2% of the savings as maintenance savings on your behalf. Then energy escalation, they escalate at 4%. Now your MID has been significantly less than that. Your PG&E has been significantly more than that at Lammersville, okay? So overall, that's, I think, a very appropriate escalation factor. Inflation at 2%, we can all argue with that, but somewhere between 2 and 3. Then any money that the district chooses to contribute or any rebates that we get can serve to what I call buy down the SIR. In other words, if you have a project that has a 0.95 and we have to get it to that 1.05, if the district were to bring money to that table, you could buy down the cost so that the savings look better and the overall SIR improves, okay? And then the problem is at the bottom, they discount this at 5%. So I don't know when the last time you put money in the bank and you earned 5%. I'm certain that the school district is not. But you've just eliminated your entire energy escalation, haven't you, right? So it becomes a little bit more difficult to make rather more complex, run-of-the-mill projects fly. So with all these submissions, please be aware that we have used all of the Prop 39 to fund solar generation at a number of entities. In fact, down in Bakersfield, we had a district just approve $32 million, of which they're $4 million in Prop 39 is going to assist that project, which is funded by a low-interest loan mechanism, right? We did not suggest that for your district right now because the majority of the campuses are in MID territory. And right now, no matter what I could do, I could probably only give you a break-even scenario over 25 years. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Otherwise, I'd love to sell you millions in solar, right? But I can't do it right now. At Lammersville Elementary, there is a potential that it could work. But it is very small scale just for that one campus. So rather than that, I think the better thing is to throw those dollars at the conservation so that you can right-size your load so whenever this does come around that would benefit the district, this would be good. So lighting and air conditioning uses 70-80%. The rest of the loads we are not going to be able to control. Teachers' refrigerators is number one. Right? That is up to the district to control. You got increasing IT loads all the time. Right? That will not decrease in the future, that will increase, right? Those are the two kind of main things that you have going on. But lighting retrofits, and you can see the savings over on the right-hand column of slide 6, are really the ways to access the greatest savings for your investment. And they can typically save around 15 to 20% of a school's overall load. Then HVAC, replacing air conditioners will not hit that 1.05 on its own. So what we do is we combine it with other projects that are better than 1.05 so that the overall project hits that 1.05 for you, okay? And then a big one for the district on slide 7 is these Wi-Fi based thermostats that we have now. It used to be that you had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get energy management controls into controlling a little package system at the school district. Well, now you can buy a thermostat that has Wi-Fi capabilities if you desire the remote access, which have a very nice backlit display, and the teachers love them, that will control the unit. In particular, the good news for your district is you have 3 of your campuses that are employ the older type of controls that are very expensive to repair. So we have not projected any of those savings in this cash flow, but I expect by installing these Wi-Fi thermostats, you may have a significant benefit in terms of dollars saved towards paying your controls provider, because we'll just eliminate that. And once you have a thermostat on your system, any AC contractor can work on it, not a specialized contractor. It's just like a system at your house, right? It's that simple. And then other projects is like roofs and windows. Windows are wonderful from an aesthetics perspective, from a noise perspective. but it's not like at your home where you're running your heating and air conditioning 24/7. You're going 7:30 to 3:30, and therefore the savings are developed into a 50-year return. So they do not qualify. This was just a little synopsis under the program development on slide 8 of where we're at. We have performed your energy analysis, and then we met with the staff to discuss their preliminary direction, which was to focus it on the 4 older schools and in particular address the controls issues and the Lammersville HVAC issues. So we went ahead and did a thorough analysis. All of your lighting fixtures have been accounted for and calculated in the HVAC and the controls as well. Now what we're at is to this point where we've presented staff and not so well to the board yet, a number of options that we think are good options to move forward with, and we're looking for direction from the board. When the district does pick a direction to move forward with, we will then submit this whole program to the California Energy Commission. They'll review our costs, they'll review our savings, and they'll give it their blessing. Just so you know that for the vast majority of them, they have not changed any of our numbers because we were involved pretty early in the development. So all of these scenarios, I probably have touched on this, but your $484,000 allocation, they provide immediate savings, which is good for the district. Leverage all your Prop 39 funds, prepare you for the future solar generation, replace most or all of the HVAC systems that are older than the 15-year life cycle that the CEC will allow. So everything basically older than 2000 will be eliminated at Lammersville Elementary, which is a big deal at that site. And replaces all of the district's outdated control systems at all 4 sites with those Wi-Fi thermostats. And then provides for energy management and training agreement at 12%. That's a part of that management piece. The CEC guidelines require you to report back to them on your progress and also a final report. And what we try to do is we have it is not allowable to actually teach classes just for the sake of teaching classes, but what we can do is introduce a behavioral management program into the district which requires us to teach classes. So depending on the scope that the district wishes to move forward with, we can actually do some STEM-based training. Just so you know, IES, we're contractors. We're very street-wise based, so most of our classes are going to be on life cycle economics. They're not going to be necessarily on greenhouse gas emissions or those types of things. It's going to be more like showing the students what different types of lighting systems, how much they cost, how much they save, and you show us what you believe is the best life cycle for these, right? So we've been very successful with that. A lot of the districts, we have been doing it with 8th graders going into high school. Seems to be a good opportunity at that grade level. And then scenario 3, which is the option that kind of requires financing or other district capital, then I believe, in my opinion, completely right sizes those 4 campuses for future solar generation. And you wouldn't need to do anything else prior. So this is back to those spreadsheets that you saw last time. I'll try to summarize them very briefly. This one, the Prop 39, all of the 484 plus 25,000 of district funds, buying down that SR. Basically, it does the comprehensive exterior retrofit of all 4 campuses to LED, which is a really nice thing because aesthetically it's very appealing and it cuts light loads dramatically there, right? But Lammersville is really the worst case on the interior and really could use a lighting retrofit just for light level enhancement. And so it does that as well. And then it replaces all of the HVAC systems at Lammersville Elementary that are older than 2000, and then does those controls as I had discussed. So that would require the district putting in $25,000, but you can see that the savings are quite significant as the project is mostly funded by the state. Is it okay to move on to scenario 2? Okay, scenario 2. The only difference between this scenario and the other one is that instead of replacing all of the older HVAC systems at Lammersville Elementary, it replaces all of the old HVAC systems that are on the permanent buildings. So it does not replace the wall-mounted systems that you see on all the portable buildings, you know. Some people call them portables. I call them permanents. They tend to stay there forever, right? But,
Yes.
but that's the only difference there.
Haven't moved in years.
And so this one does not require any district capital. The only thing is if the district wanted to proceed with the entire project, now you would see that in 15-16 there's an annual negative because you are waiting for 16-17 and 17-18 to recoup the rest of the 5-year funding stream. Okay? And then scenario 3. This is where we said, okay, what would we do? Staff has, if we're going to right size for solar, what would you do, Chris? And it isn't that much more, but it's enough more where I thought that the district may want to implement a finance mechanism. Rates have come down a little bit since this, by the way. I was just quoted 3.25 the other day. This is a 3.6% on the far left tax-exempt municipal lease. In other words, it's an equipment lease. It's not secured to any property. Doesn't require any upfront funds or fees. But what this does is allow you to go ahead and do the super T8 systems, make all 4 campuses exactly the same in terms of their lighting systems. They would all be of the same generation of lighting systems and basically does everything else that we discussed, all of the old HVAC and all of the HVAC controls. But that way, all the campuses have new lights, interior and exterior, on a comprehensive manner with 5-year parts and labor warranty on the interior and 10-year parts and labor warranty on the exterior. In Lammersville's HVAC issues are remedied and all of the controls issues are remedied. But it costs $929,000, which is quite a bit more than your $486,000. So therefore, I introduced the financing mechanism if the district wanted to pursue this. Once again, this is your project to pursue. I just present you options, so I'm just kind of looking for which way seems to be the most comfortable to the district to pursue.
Can you flip back to scenario 2 for just a moment for me?
You bet.
And now flip back to scenario 3. And I know that you've already done it, but summarize for me again.
Sure.
The difference between when we step up, as I understand it, what we're saying on scenario 3 is that we are doing a full retrofit and we are essentially positioning the district so that it can pivot to solar.
Right, without any additional conservation necessary.
Okay.
Correct.
So then summarize for me again. I know you already did it, but I'm going to pay very close attention. The difference between scenario 2 and scenario 3.
Yeah, so 2 requiring no investment. On the HVAC side at Lammersville Elementary does not accomplish all the heat pump systems on the portables. It does accomplish all the main facility old HVAC systems, okay? So that's where it's decreased there. On the lighting side, it does not accomplish the interior lighting systems at Cuesta and Wicklin. Cuesta and Wicklin and Bethany.
So the bump in project utility savings between scenario 2 and scenario 3 is primarily due to lighting.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, there's a little bit on the HVAC related to Lammersville, but not a lot.
Okay.
Lighting is your safest bet in terms of savings, just so you know. Although I know that your thermostats are going to give you quite a bit, both from a maintenance perspective and an energy perspective. HVAC systems, to be quite honest, yes, they do save money if the old ones work. If they don't have a good charge and the old ones aren't really pumping out cold air, well, the new one, if it's efficient, it's still going to work harder because it's actually pumping out cold air.
Thank you. I
bet.
appreciate it.
I do have a couple of questions as
Yes,
it
sir.
relates to all of this. I don't know if you're finished or not, but
Go ahead, yeah.
so first of all, just to clarify then, so under scenario 3, when you say investment, you're talking investment above and beyond the Prop 39 funding, right? The total project price you're talking about is 1.4.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry, sir. The total investment of the district would be the $929,478 plus the energy manager 4 years of $47,000.
Okay, then I'm a little perplexed by the figures because if the total investment of $929,000 we can take off the top the $400,000 in Prop 39 funding.
Yeah, but all I did, sir, is I just included this as a cash flow. So if you look at the green where you see Prop 39 funding,
Right.
that's your cash flows coming in. So if you look over at the far right under your cumulative savings, you see how you're saving it all up
Yes.
and then you're expending it, right?
But here's what I'm looking at here. If
You
add
could
up-
buy it down, yes.
But if you add up all of the 15-year term loan payments plus the
Mm-hmm.
$400,000 that we're getting in Prop 39 funding, we will have expended 1.2 for that 900,000 plus $400,000. The math is throwing me off.
Yeah, got it. It's minus 489,000. So your expenditures you will have expended 1.2 million for your loan,
Yeah.
right? Because you're borrowing the whole project.
Okay.
And then you're
That's what I
getting
needed to know.
$489,000 in to help pay for those
so
payments.
What that's doing is buying down the first 2 years of the loan, which is what now I understand where those are coming from. Why? The math is just throwing me off with all of this. But either way,
I think if I had shown this, sir, where you were only borrowing the additional funding,
and that's what I thought
you
what
know,
you meant by investment.
yeah, no,
We're borrowing $929,000 and we're paying back $1.2 million. I'm going, yep, that makes sense. That's
Right.
interest. That's what's going to happen. I just don't understand how we're paying back $1.2 million plus we're getting $400,000, and I see that as a total cost of give or take $1.6 million after all the loans are paid back. So even if you come back down, I'm still seeing a $1.2 to $1.4 million total project cost. That's somehow, some way.
yeah,
that's
so
what I'm seeing.
the pinkish columns, that's all your cost. And then your green columns are all your savings.
Okay.
And then
The
the
blue
blue stuff
columns are
is
the
the
net of the
difference.
two.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I'm sorry. The other question that I had was related to the controls, the Wi-Fi
Yeah.
controls. Do we have any of those at the high school, Mr. Faubert? Wireless thermostats? No. Okay. Are they operating on a distinct Wi-Fi signal for each thermostat control? Or are they controlled by a central wireless router dedicated for those things?
So what happens is some districts elect to actually implement the Wi-Fi feature of it, and some districts don't, because they can be programmed on a 365-day basis with the SD card.
Right.
But if you do implement the Wi-Fi feature, it needs to ride that school's Wi-Fi network.
And that was the reason for that concern is if we start going to one-to-ones at a higher level at all of our school sites, we're dealing with a bandwidth issue at some point, depending on how many thermostats we're talking about. And we're starting to get set out outside of my breadth. I don't know how many controls would get us there. I'm sure there's someone here who could tell me what that is, but that would be a concern that I would have is while the wireless controls may be great, the SD card program would probably be better utilized for the district because of the potential bandwidth issues, and we can't have students not being able to learn because teachers and staff are controlling thermostats.
Yeah, you don't want that happening. Not too many people,
That
you
was
don't
it
want
for
them to
me.
have keys to the thermostats. Yeah.
That's usually the case.
Thank you very much. I understand this scenario's way better than I did before. It wasn't. I don't think it was your presentation. I think I was overthinking it. Really.
No,
the previous time.
I welcome the
Same
questions.
you had, so we're a little more involved. And as Alvina can tell you, when it comes to numbers, we're really involved, so thank you very much.
That's a good thing. Thank you.
So this is gonna become before us?
What are the next steps? Yes.
We would discuss it at the business meeting and talk about when and then I would either come forward in the agenda process or in the following meeting or the following meeting.
I got your password, Noel.
When you bring it back, you'll have a recommendation as to the scenario that you recommend, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Thanks for the presentation. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. Item B, first reading of board policy and administrative regulation, additions and updates.
Dr. Gill can come to the podium.
Good evening, Governing Board, Mr. President and Dr. Nicholas. So we have two board policies and ARs coming forward as revised. CSPA puts board policies, revised the board policies based on new laws. Two new laws, along with several others that came out Last year, one was AB 1522 for substitute teachers and providing them sick leave. And then the other one was AB 1266 with transgender students. So we're updating our board policies. These are just only two. We actually are going to bring them in smaller chunks to you. So we will be bringing more board policies forward in the future. So these are just two right now, along with the ARs.
Any questions from the board?
Oh, I've read over these, and I wholeheartedly agree with all of the recommendations from staff.
Looks good. Thank you for the work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item C, Mountain House High School Units of Study and Collaboration.
Have Principal Faubert come forward, please.
Thank you so much for inviting me here tonight, Governing Board and Dr. Nicholas, to discuss our RCD units of study and how collaboration fits together with that. And today, we're going to give you an English department perspective of what that looks like. Our hope is to get some teachers in here in the future to discuss this. Tonight it's me again. But today's the work that you'll see here is indicative of the work that the whole school is doing. And so you'll see as we go through the RCD unit creation at Mountain House High School plays an important role in the educational process at Mountain House High School. First of all schools in the state of California, as you may already know, are required to submit all of their curriculum to the UC system for review in order to be deemed appropriate, rigorous curriculum for college preparatory purposes. So all of the courses of Mountain House High School have been through this process, and we have used the RCD process to develop these course outlines that are required. It's pretty rigorous that the UC requires us to go through this. I don't believe there's any other state in the 50 states that the UC, their college system requires high schools to do this. And as of today, Mountain House High School, in under a year, prepared and got approved 64 UC-approved courses on our list. 64. That means units of study. I put it at the bottom here. No, I didn't. I'll say it later whenever it comes up. But you'll be shocked to know how many units of study have been created in under a year. So there are some essential elements to your units of study that follow the RCD unit creation process, and all of our courses start with the Common Core standards. Teachers in the English department worked over the past year to identify priority standards for all of the English courses at Mountain House High School from English 9 through English 12, including honors courses, which are separate course outlines, and AP courses, which are, again, separate outlines. So those standards are then unwrapped by creating essential questions and enduring understandings for each unit. In addition, daily objectives are created for the work students are doing that are related back to the essential questions and the enduring understandings. In addition, teachers have identified discrete skills that need to be taught in each unit, and the practice that's necessary for students to do in order to answer the essential questions and the enduring understandings. Teachers have designed engaging learning activities that prepare students for proficiency on mastery assessments and includes active learning strategies and cooperative learning strategies that allow students to experience the curriculum in ways that help them to stay engaged. And the use of technology in classrooms allow us to blend instruction with online materials and activities. And some teachers have implemented them and are perfecting the use of station-based learning, where students rotate through several activities and tasks throughout the unit in order to gain their understanding of the curriculum. And some of you may be familiar with that in the lower elementary school grades.
Well, centers.
Centers. They call them centers. So we actually are running centers at the high school. And in fact, I was observing a teacher 2 days ago in an AP junior level English course who is doing centers in her room. And it is awesome to see. If you ever want to see it, come on down and I'll take you to that classroom. It's really neat to see.
Never understood why that stops.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic.
It is fantastic. If
The
it's
sage
done
on the
right.
stage thing and the traditional model got in the way, but it's not anymore.
It's awesome. If you want to see it, we've got, I mean, she's innovating. She's sending articles out, and she's actually making connections to very well-known teachers who are also doing the same thing at the high school level. So kind of interesting. So those are the kinds of things that are going on with our engaging learning activities. So finally, assessment plays an important part in the creation of units of study. Formative assessment, where students are checked frequently for understanding, are embedded into the lessons in the curriculum, and common mastery assessments are designed using authentic performance tasks in the form of unit projects for each unit of study. As I mentioned previously, here it is. We have 64 approved UC courses that were developed unit by unit using this RCD process that the teachers have been engaged in and they're enjoying. These units of study are being implemented at Mountain House High School on a daily basis. Each course has a master copy of all the units, the resources, and the learning activities that the teachers continually work with after every unit. And they go through this cycle of inquiry and the cycle of improvement. Each course has anywhere between 6 and 12 units fully built into our system. So that means over the course of the last year, and in fact it was less than a year, Mountain House High School teachers have developed anywhere between 384 and 768 units of study fully developed for students to engage in. So those units of study, and I like to say better that they are curated using materials that were purchased for them through our partnership with Blended Schools Network and their curriculum, as well as through thoughtful curation of free, open source, and paid content available through open source and proprietary formats. So before I go to the next slide, I brought, and if we could go to the document that I sent you, I brought... I brought a copy.
Test, are we?
Excuse me?
We're not taking
no
a test,
test.
are we? Okay.
No. Let's go. You just start at the top. You don't have a mouse. Okay. So I brought for you, this is the skeletal outline of the entire year of English 9 that we designed. So this is not the details of each unit, but you'll see some details of the units in here. And I just wanted people to be aware of the work that's been done. This is, again, just the skeleton that backs this up. So you'll see that at this document, that at the very beginning of the document, there's an overview of what the class is and the course text that will be used alongside those. Those are the texts that they use to drive the curriculum. And then the very next part, you'll see priority standards. And you'll notice that there are 9th and 10th grade standards on the 9th grade class because they need to start in on some of the 10th grade standards. I means introduced, P means practiced, and M means mastered. So you noticed, for example, on the very first one, it lists the priority standard that was pulled out of the Common Core State Standards. And then it shows in the 9th grade that this standard is introduced and practiced in the first semester and mastered by the second semester. Likewise, the second standard, RL.4, first semester in 9th grade introduced, semester 2 practiced, again practiced in 10th grade semester 1, and then mastered in semester 2. This is a very detailed and thorough examination of the standards and how long it's going to take the kids to master each one of them. And some of them take more than 1 year, right? You start them in 1 year and you finish them in the next. And each of our courses do that. So if you flip through, the next thing you see is on about the 3rd page. The front of the second printed page is a course overview, and it starts with the units of study. So in this class, there are 8 units of study. At the beginning of each unit of study, the teachers have listed the essential questions and the enduring understandings. You'll see the discrete skills, topics, which are topics, grammar, the essay type that they're going to be going over in this unit, and the list of lessons. So again, this is not the details of each lesson, it's just the list of lessons that will be taught. Finally, for each unit, you'll see that there is the common assessment, which is a unit project for every unit. And for example, in the first unit, the project is a photo story, where students take on the role of a movie producer and use the stories that they've read in the unit to create a short film to demonstrate their ability to interpret the relationship between stories in real life and its effect on the individual. It also asks students to demonstrate their ability to identify themes and events that are specifically related to real life. The unit project includes the standards that are expected to be met. So that's for every unit, and this is the skeleton. It's really exciting to see, and you'll notice that the last thing on this slide says, if you go back to the slides, please. The last thing on this slide is it says the importance of the master copy of the classes in our learning management system, which is Canvas. The Canvas learning management system hosts all of the actual lessons in the units of study, and that's where you'll see the depth of knowledge and the depth of information that's in there. And our teachers have done a wonderful job of curating information, both from proprietary and free open source online resources. And the other thing that I'd like to say about our Canvas learning management system and how proud I am that our district has gone with Canvas learning management, if you've seen anything in recent news, is that the California community colleges have decided that their learning management system is Canvas. And so we are directly aligned to our California community college system, who is now using the Canvas system for all of their online and blended learning. So it's great that we've gone with that, and that's a product that we've decided to use. So mastery-based learning and grading. So what does that have to do with this? We've talked a little bit about this before. So along with the building and implementation of units of study, Mountain House High School teachers are dedicated to a mastery-based system of learning and grading. So this system was something that we've spent time researching and implementing in intentional ways. It's not just the next fly-by-night thing that's coming along. So one of the things that research states is right up there. In traditional grading, grades are recorded by the task, a grade for a particular assignment, quiz, or test. In standards-based grading, those learning tasks are organized by learning targets, and grades are reported by learning target. It's the difference between a score and a skill. So what I want to say about that is, in order to make learning and grading comprehensible and accessible to students and the community, our teachers are dedicated to clearly defining levels of mastery for students in the form of rubrics. That means that teachers identify specific skills must master to make the grade, and like we've talked about before, you have the proficient level, which is what we want the kids to get. You have the basic, which is below that, and they just haven't got there yet. You have the advanced, and then you have on the very bottom the not yet. So that helps students to identify specific skills and teachers to identify specific skills that they must master to make the grade. Additionally, the redo and retake and error analysis creates an environment where we can celebrate mistake learning as an opportunity. No longer do students get an essay back from their teacher with a bad grade and just go, eh. They get it back and the teacher says, do it again. Do it again. Do it again until they master the concept. It shows students that you don't just get to fail and move on. It shows that we care about you and we want you to be successful. Teaching a student that their mistakes are something to be learned from helps them critically think about their work and turns the conversation away from how many more points do I need for an A to what skills do I need to demonstrate in order to master these concepts. Mastery-based learning is causing students to become more self-directed. We're seeing it happen every day, and the common rubrics and common mastery assessments have led to a coordinated and easy way to communicate expectations across the board. Mastery-based learning has led to a higher level of rigor as students work to apply what they are learning in multiple contexts. So what role does collaboration play in this? It plays an essential role in the ongoing process of unit development. While our units are fully developed, they are never fully complete. They are a work in progress. And at Mountain House High School, we were fortunate enough to have changed our schedule around. We talked about that last year to incorporate a daily collaboration period. Teachers are collaborating daily at the high school for 48 minutes in their departments. And we wanted that to be an intentional collaboration. At the beginning of the year, each department chair was tasked with going back to their departments and coming back with a proposal for a cycle of collaboration, and worked with the administration to identify our priorities, their priorities, and put together a schedule that would work. So this is the example of the English department's daily collaboration cycle. So you notice that the English department begins and ends their week with curriculum and instruction. At the beginning of the week, they go over the expectations of the units they're teaching and previewing, planning instruction and units of study. They go over the expectations of the units they're teaching and discuss any tweaks that might need to be made before they go into it. They talk about instructional strategies and the things they might need to make the unit successful. And at the end of the week, they then review what they've done over the week, do some more tweaking, write it into that master copy of the course so that next year when they come back to it, they have that conversation in their daily collaborations. Teachers are having collaboration time where the hard work of unit creation and curation happens, and teachers have deep conversations about how best to teach and what the best materials are for their students. You notice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of their weeks are spent talking about the tools they use, the instructional strategies that they use, and the assessments that are used to help students gain mastery of the content. These are essential components for an ongoing professional development, and teachers support one another, talk about instruction, delve into assessments, and refine practices on a daily basis to ensure they're doing what they need to best serve students. Finally, the staff at Mountain House High School are dedicated to a cycle of continuous improvement, and they're excited about it. The units of study and collaboration are essential to our cycle of improvement, and we plan, we do, we check and act on a regular basis. At the beginning of this school year, my vice principal led our teachers on through their first cycle of innovation that focused on developing more effective rubrics for the assessments that are already existing. On our early release Wednesday today, because we do have a couple of early release days throughout the school year, today was the end of our first cycle of innovation, and we ended it with an academic conference where each of the departments had an opportunity to share their progress on the rubrics. We modeled good teaching by having teachers take notes and write down their ahas and their questions, and it resulted in a very deep conversation about one topic that was common, but each of the departments attacked in very different ways. And it was a very interesting conversation to hear our PE teachers talking about mastery of content with our English teachers. It's really awesome to see that all of our departments are getting in on the academic train and making sure that students are deeply understanding. You should see the videos that these students are creating of how to appropriately throw a ball. And how teachers have given students a rubric with which to create those videos, and how specific students can get at creating those videos. It's really great. So teachers are reflecting and getting ideas from one another, and the cycle of continuous improvement has fostered a culture of action research and collaborative inquiry that has made and will continue to make Mountain House High School a cutting-edge, professional research team that implements practices that will assist students to achieve their highest potential. The next innovation cycle will begin in the next several weeks as departments go back after what they've talked about today. And what we did is we structured the first innovation cycle, and now that they've gone through the first, they know what it feels like, and they're going to go back to their departments and determine what is our next innovation cycle. Do we continue with rubrics? They will all continue with rubrics, but their next innovation cycle, they can go and start attacking, the international standards for technology and education and see how that's going to come into the curriculum. They're going to plan it. They're going to do it. They're going to check that it works. They're going to act to improve that performance, and they're going to present it out to the learning community to better everybody's teaching. We're excited about the professional culture that has been established at Mountain House High School and look forward to bringing more of our research and findings to the board as we continue creating and refining our RCD units of study using the collaborative cycle of continuous improvement.
Mr. Faubert, thank you so much for this presentation. It's nice to hear, it's very refreshing to hear some good news. For the last couple months, every time I open my email, every phone call, every meeting I've had has been doom and gloom. And this is exciting stuff. And I'm glad to hear that your staff is so eager to do it. And will you please do me a favor and let me know when your next innovation cycle ends? Because I would like to come to that.
Absolutely. To the presentation.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'd like to address your staff and just give them my thanks and appreciation for embracing this stuff and bringing it to life, because it's not going on everywhere in this district.
Well, it's all a part of the RCD process. You know, we believe that this innovation cycle fits in very well with looking at how to continually refine our units of study. It's all a part of that. It's not anything that's separate. This RCD process has empowered our teachers to become good curators and professional educators who are valued for what they do. And the collaboration process is essential to that. And they're using it. I want to tell you, thank you so much, Board, for supporting the new Bell schedule. And because it's an investment of money that you have made in the staff to allow them that time every day to be able to engage in this process. So thank you.
Please pass along my thanks to your staff.
Yes, from all of us.
All the board. Yes. Great job.
I just want to add one thing. For the folks who didn't get to look at this, I would love for this to end up on the district website, just for someone to be able to see it. This didn't exist 18 months ago. It wasn't something you could run out to Houghton Mifflin and buy to teach ninth grade English.
Absolutely.
Your staff, our staff, created this. And if you could, it's doing the public a disservice not to see what is in this. It is an unbelievable illustration. I remember these books. I'm starting to flash back to some of the things and I'm seriously just thinking about all of the questions that are being asked in this. And this isn't the lesson. This is the umbrella of which everything falls underneath.
Right.
This was created by our teachers.
Right.
This was
Curating information that exists out there.
Those teachers were empowered, as you said, and valued for their input, as we do all teachers in this district. And I wanted to thank you and them for all of their hard work.
And I would just like to say that I have the opportunity to spend some time at the high school. I have 2 high school students there, and I also attend various other functions at the high school, and I'm excited about the learning and the culture that we're developing at the high school. It's good stuff.
Yes, thank you.
For the calendar, everything's listed there. Please take note. Our next regular board meeting is Wednesday, the 9th. Monday, November 16th is the San Joaquin County School Board Association dinner. I think there's a few of us that are going.
Yes.
And
I just had one question about the calendar. The DAC meeting is listed here, and I was curious as to when that meeting was scheduled, because when I went over the board packet, was the first I was seeing of the DAC meeting, and getting that information out to the community as well as the board in more advanced timing would be helpful.
the 9th.
It was originally scheduled way back when we had all the dates to the board. I think that was in July. And then we sent an invitation to the community last Friday. And we will be sending a reminder invitation again this Friday.
All right, I apologize, I didn't see it last Friday. I'm not sure.
You didn't receive it?
No, I'm not sure where it.
It went as an email and a phone call. And we do for Medulink, so I'm going to check with my assistant to see.
I got a phone call.
To specifically see.
I got a phone call.
Yeah, you should have received it. So I'm going to check to make sure that, yes. I apologize that you didn't receive a phone call, but we'll look into that, why the phone.
One of the few phone calls I got. I got that one on my cell phone, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it may have been, I constantly get the robocalls when I'm at a board meeting or other functions, and sometimes they make it to my voicemail, and sometimes they go off into the stratosphere somewhere and I never get them.
for a
so-
few days and then it comes back and you're like, oh, I missed
You'll
it.
get it on the 10th.
Thank you.
Thank you. In a moment, we're going to adjourn to closed session. We have a few items to discuss. Public employee discipline dismissal release, conference with labor negotiators, and also conference with legal counsel regarding pending litigation and anticipated litigation, and conference with real property negotiators.
I move we adjourn to closed session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in closed session.